Hello and welcome to the ESL Australia and New Zealand Championship Season 1 for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, live here from ESL Studios in Sydney, Australia. My name is Sam and I'm joined here on our analyst desk by Sniper and Gymneso. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you going today?
Good, thank you. Been a pretty nice and easy start to the day, just letting everyone get set up and nice afternoon start. So
getting settled, getting in there. No early starts today for Counter-Strike.
No, I mean, I can't complain. Nobody listens anyway, so.
We have 4 teams here. They've qualified through our season. We played 7 open tournaments throughout the season. From those tournaments, we took our top 16 teams. Today, 4 remain. Let's take a look at the matches we have lined up for you today. First up, it will be Parallax up against Athletico Brotherhood, followed by the Chiefs Esports Club up against Team Exile 5. Tomorrow, we will continue the competition with our winners bracket and lower bracket finalists until we get to our grand final. $10,000 is the prize pool, $5,000 for first place. Lots for these teams to play for today. Jim, I'll go to you first. This first matchup, what do you think is going to happen? How do you feel? Atletico probably pretty favoured, surely.
Well, on paper, yep, definitely. I mean, we had the pleasure of, we actually had the pleasure of casting these guys earlier in the week. It was an interesting matchup. It was very back and forth between the two teams. I think experience is going to play a large factor here. Neither of these teams really boast too much experience on a stage like this, in a setting like this. So whoever can get into the groove earliest, I feel, will be the ones that really take hold and perhaps run away with it. Yeah, they certainly will. So we see Parallax Athletico is our first game of the day. Some people may be like, oh, not sure what happened with the schedule. It was going to be an off-stage game. Now we're playing it on stage and we get to bring it to you today. So that's very, very exciting. The next game, of course, Chiefs Esports Club up against Team Exile 5. We can see there in our bracket that we've got a double elimination set up. The winner from these 2 games go to our upper bracket final. The losers are still in the competition. We don't want to fly them all the way to LAN and have them out in one game. That's a little bit sad. So they, of course, get an opportunity in the lower bracket round 1. The winner of that progresses to the lower bracket final, who plays the loser of the upper bracket final, and the winner of that goes to the grand final. So a lot of Counter-Strike action coming up. These teams, we've seen them play, you know, across the last 3 months. They played a lot of Counter-Strike. We have some interesting stats for them as well. So what do you have a prediction? Can I ask you for a prediction straight up? It's a bold one going straight to the prediction, but
yeah,
I feel as though Parallax have a little bit more to offer. Athletico, I think maybe some nerves could get into them. They are quite young.
Yeah.
And I think it is going to be a 3-map.
Okay.
So I'm predicting Parallax in 2.
Parallax in 2. Very, very interesting. Sniper, I want to go to you as well. We have a lot of these stats already. How are you feeling about this matchup?
well, a lot has definitely changed since last time we casted these teams. And, you know, just talking to the guys, both teams seem very comfortable with LAN, even though they're not seasoned LAN veterans by any stretch. So, but, you know, both teams have respectable coaches behind them, helping them out, helping them cope with all those nerves.
Yeah.
And it will be, I think it might be a close affair today. And I think we might see all 3 maps.
Okay.
And, you know, I think what we're going to see is we're going to see the individual powerhouse of the Athletico Brotherhood come up against the tactics of Lonsdale and those executes, or maybe even just those defaults, and trying to get map control. So it's going to be like brute force versus that.
Yeah.
And I think I'll put Athletico to win this one.
Okay.
After they get comfortable.
After they sort of get in there. So, of course, these guys have been playing for, as we said, 3 months in these teams, and the teams have remained relatively stable. Obviously, that was the nature of that sort of structure. So we know that Athletico, some people consider them the favourites. They've been playing very, very well. They came through. They won their qualifier relatively easy. We go back and we take a look at their maps. I've got here Elfish Guy, who will be casting very, very shortly, has some interesting stats. He's spent the last... No, you say that. I see your face there, Jim. I see your face. But he's been working very hard the last 2 weeks. So we can go through... Now, Athletico don't particularly like to play Copple or Nuke. They do like to play Cache, but their Cache win rate is only at 50%. When you look at a team like Parallax, their current Cache win rate is 100%. They've won 4 of their last 4 Cache games. How do you think the maps are going to play into this game?
Well, I think the Australian meta is going to definitely play its hand in this. I do think Cache will be, funnily enough, in there. Athletico are willing enough to pick it in their own vetoes. Obviously, Parallax fall into that same boat. with that third map, that second map, I definitely feel as though Parallax will potentially pick Train.
Okay.
Obviously, their win rate on that is going to be a little bit better than Athletico's because, simply put, they're prepared on it. And, for a third map, probably going to be safe in this prediction and say something like Mirage.
The Aussie meta.
It is, yeah. Well, if we look at the win rates at the moment, again, we're only talking about the last month or so, but in the OCE region, I suspect that the last month or so is often what you have to go up against, right? Because
That's right.
Based on teams, and I think they've got Parallax have a 75% win rate on Train, and not that great on something perhaps like Cobble or Mirage, whilst the guys over on Athletico are actually sitting on 100% win rate on Train, but they played it less times. So.
Yeah. And the other thing we have to take into consideration also is the quality of the opponents. Parallax got here on a 3-0 map win against the team ASDF, which are no slouches. They had a pretty hard way to qualify here.
They were playing best of threes, and unfortunately one of their games they didn't get their win for, even though they won it in normal time.
Yeah, due to a technicality, there was a forfeit there. So, we say they won 3-0.
Yeah, well, they did. They, on map score or scores with round loss that they won.
And it showed a lot of strength as well for them to come through after having that decision made and winning in pretty close fashion. And that third map was not very close. Like, it was pretty obvious that Parallax were going to win that from the start. So, and then we've got Athletico, who came through with the easiest run. They were already a high seed, whereas Parallax was like the bottom seed of their group. And then Athletico had to beat one team, Team Skyfire, and they beat them 2-0. It was a pretty easy game.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We know that Athletico recently played up against Parallax and defeated them 2-1, but of course that's online. Is that going to make a difference?
It was a different competition too. I think that needs to be taken into account. Obviously, there is the online factor. Here today, we're on stage in front of an audience, and there was all those bright lights and a general focus on their gameplay. Any mistake that they make in-game is going to be amplified because they feel as though everybody's going to be seeing it. So that's where experience is going to come into play, and unfortunately none of these guys really have a whole heap of it. So how they react to these situations is largely going to determine the outcome, I feel.
It's a good point. These guys probably have played a little bit of land, some of them on bigger stages than others. Obviously, we're in a studio environment here. There's bright lights, you've got the big screen here. Do you think this is a more stressful situation than other types of LAN tournaments for some of these guys?
100%. 100%. It's a completely different beast. A lot of these guys are used to playing at a LAN tournament in the traditional sense, in a net cafe, something dark, something usually quite close-knit, quite comfortable. Generally not a lot of spectators there on site either.
Yeah.
So it's completely different. It's a completely different environment. And I think the only way that you gain experience in environments like this is by playing in environments like this, and there are very few players on that stage who have that experience.
Sniper, what do you think of our studio here? This is the first time that we've had Counter-Strike Global Offensive here at ESL Studios in Sydney, Australia. Studios that we've really only been able to get out there and give it a whirl a couple of times now.
Yep.
Got Counter-Strike here. These sort of pro players here in Australia. Do you think they're feeling pretty good about this?
What, the players feeling good? Oh man, they'd be loving it, surely. I mean, I would love to play on this stage. This is probably, as you were saying, it comes down to experience. No one has experienced this in Australia. So this is definitely one of the best studio tournaments we've seen. It's the first studio tournament we've seen, but this is definitely a step above the rest. And Athletico, they've got a lot of questions above their head as well, being called onliners and whatnot. A lot to prove. They haven't been called onliners, have they, Sniper? Yeah. So we got players like Infrequent, who previously was banned for cheating and then unbanned.
Unbanned for cheating as well.
Yeah. So there's it's
good
not
old DEFCON always. First he goes and he doesn't
the first person thrown under the bus for the weekend.
Yeah.
First he doesn't say that Trident / Parallax is a Div 1 team, and now he tries to get rid of players. And
yeah, so look, we're not saying he is or he isn't, but at the end of the day, they made a mistake and they rectified that. But there's going to be pressure on his shoulders, and I think that might play a small part in this. But hopefully he can overcome that and have a good game and really show to Australia that he's able to do this sort of thing on LAN.
Yeah.
And this team could skyrocket. You never know; they could be the #1 team.
Do you think they're onliners, Jim?
Well, I'd hope not. They've obviously got a larger competition to go on to in the next couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, that's true. They're going over to China, aren't they?
That's right. So it's the SL Star Letter I Series, I believe, or SLI Series. So that's an international event that 4 of these guys are going to. So I think any experience gained this weekend is certainly going to flow on there, but at the moment, this is their first hurdle to conquer.
Yeah, it certainly is, and as you said, a very good warm-up for them. Hopefully, they can come through and pick up all of their games and progress through to the grand final tomorrow. That's a lot of live LAN experience. It's better than boot camping, really, if you can get all those games here. Something else to note, up on our stage, we have six PCs and six monitors on each side of the desk, including a coach.
Yep.
So that's a pretty big deal as well, surely.
Yeah, and like I said before, both the seasoned veterans of Counter-Strike. We've got Gomez, who's helping out Renegades from time to time, and he used to play 1.6 as well. And on the other side, we have Simcore, a guy who's notorious throughout all of New Zealand Counter-Strike folklore. So
why's that?
Well, because he was in Parallax, which was a premier 1.6 New Zealand team, almost undefeated in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Represented New Zealand at multiple WCGs. And they were just basically the all-star team of New Zealand.
Wow, yeah. So we've got really two international stars with Gomez hanging out. When he's not on the E-League stage, he's over here helping out the boys in Athletico.
Yeah, on either side of the inexperienced players, we've got some very experienced talent sitting behind them trying to push them along.
It's an inexperienced sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go and look at our videos. We'll see what our maps we will be playing today. Not surprisingly, Nuke is gone. Cobble is gone. Two maps that Athletico we know don't enjoy to play. Cache and Tunnel. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a new one.
Yeah. And
I'm not sure how the meta's evolving on that one.
I don't know. I'm pretty dark on that as well. So
I'm going to guess that's probably
it's Overpass.
Overpass.
Yeah.
So Mirage and Dust 2 going to be dropped out, and Train is going to be our last map. So
well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
Obviously, Overpass was a bit of an interesting one. I think the vetoes actually panned out really well for Parallax.
Yep.
So
I think Parallax will be happy with Overpass for
100%.
sure. Yeah.
Does that change your prediction now?
No. I think we'll still go to 3 maps, and I think nice curveball by Athletico, but Parallax is not the team to be throwing an Overpass curveball. I mean, like we see their Tunnel, it's played that little in Australia that we don't even have a name for it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get into the action here at ESL Studios in Sydney, Australia. Let's head over to our casting desk. It is Elfish Guy and PDG.
Thank you very much, Sandman. It is good to be here, as he mentions. PDG beside me. How are you feeling about this one? Do you think it's going to be a 2-1 as well?
Absolutely. Looks to be that way. Elfish Guy. It is shaping up to be a bit of a weird series for me because I actually disagree with the analyst desk in their curveball prediction for Overpass. I think Athletico could go the distance on Overpass, and they're going to have to be way more concerned about Cache and Train on land. So it's a series that's completely up in the air, and whether or not we go 2-1 either way, I think everyone's picking a 2-1 series, so it's going to be very close to contested.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it should be going to 2-1. I think Cache probably does favour Parallax here, at least in my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. Obviously, you can see our little flyover here of Cache. Give us a bit of a rundown about what we might expect to see here on Cache.
Well, both these teams utilise a very, very heavy mid control early on in the piece, so we're going to have a battle for mid. For me, it'll be the team, Elfish Guy, who relinquishes control of mid first and accepts the fact that it's going to be very, very difficult to hold for the CT sides, give it away, and then learn to, adopt more of a retake style on their CT side. We saw towards the back end of a lot of this competition, we've seen a lot of strong CT sides on this map. And the terrorist side on land for me is going to be the one where they're going to have to prove themselves.
Yeah, it does look like it is going to be Parallax here, starting off on the T side, so they're going to be able to dictate the pace of the game here. It'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. Should be a very closely fought map, in my opinion, looking something towards like a 16-13 to 16-14 scoreline.
Definitely is a good chance of happening, to be honest, because both of these teams have very strong T-halves, as Infrequent gets that information early, and there goes those land room with ice cold water running through his veins early, and a beautiful start for Infrequent.
Yeah, certainly can't complain about that one, especially if you're an Athletico fan, but still 4 players on the board here for Parallax, and well, who knows what could happen from here on out.
Absolutely. You can see, though, the terrorists, after losing that early pick, are quite scared into action, and that's a trait that runs across the Parallax side. If they're ahead in numbers, they're extremely aggressive and they're hard to take down. But if you're able to wrestle the numbers control away from them, they do find it difficult to bounce back. And now it's going to be Kyoto picking up the second. Yeah,
it doesn't even really seem like Parallax has actually been able to get into this round at all. Like everywhere that they've tried to go, Athletico has just been sitting right there with the USP, and Parallax has been completely shut out of basically the entire map.
Yeah, there's 5 versus 2 now. Yellow and Hats are going to have to do some pretty extreme work towards the back end of this round to get it done, but you can see Hats trapped indoor, and his teammate is working towards A main, and it won't be much of a possibility because Yellow has doubled up with that Deagle, and now it's a 3 versus 2.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's Yellow getting 2 entry frags here, and all of a sudden, Parallax looking a little bit better in this one. Still should be weighted in the favor of Athletico, but the bomb does go down here, and now Parallax with a good chance here. Hats needs to find this frag, but Yellow, what is he doing? He's found another 2 kills here. Kyoto and Chutch going down. It's a 1 versus 1. Yellow going to need to clutch this one out and grab the ace if he wants to get the round here for Parallax, and he's going to be able to do it. 1 round already on the board here for Parallax. What a performance already from Yellow.
Absolutely smashing around, and that's the sort of experience we're talking about. Big game here for the Parallax guys as well as the Athletico guys, but look, there's no manual written for getting a Deagle team down, and regardless of who it's for or against, I'm a massive, massive fan of that Desert Eagle, so...
Well, we know.
Kudos to Parallax. They're pulling out the unwinnable round against Athletico. Started very, very strong. They've let that one slip, and I mean, if you're going to let one slip, it is beneficial to be the first round of the game, so you have plenty of time to work yourself back in.
Yep.
But what a strong performance there from Yellow. Spectacular moment.
Yeah, certainly was a good start here for Parallax, and I guess maybe those land jitters coming out there for Athletico, because that is certainly not a round that they should have been losing by any means, but they still have plenty of time to come back into this one, as you mentioned. Only the first round going away so far, and now Parallax with those superior weapons trying to make use of those ranges and trying to get perhaps a little bit of information into middle here.
Yeah, definitely, but fortunately for Parallax, Athletico are very, very strong on their anti-ecos, and this might come into play here. Raz finds Kyoto, who did open up a pretty nice angle there, but he's not able to get the job done with that Deagle, unlike Yellow in the pistol round. And Parallax starting to look good in this anti-eco round. Athletico not really purchasing anything of note. A couple of pistols, a Deagle here and there, and a flashbang, but generally speaking, they're going for a save round here.
Yeah, as you would expect. But we do see the mid-control has gone in the favor of Parallax, and it looks like they're actually going to be heading towards that A-bomb site. As a result of that, Athletico, on the other hand, have opted to, I guess, send a bit of a stack over to B, which is, unfortunately for them, perhaps not the correct decision. Still, it will allow Parallax here to get into the A-bomb site relatively uncontested. Jokes is going to be able to take down Liaz, but, you know, a reasonably run-of-the-mill pick there for Parallax.
Yeah, look, it's a great round unfolding here for Parallax because they've managed to keep this one clean and easy. Only Raz really taking damage at all across the board, and it'll be left on the shoulders of Infrequent to try and get this done. He can't make that Deagle work like Yellow did. 2-0 Parallax. Starting well off the back of the Yellow team down on the pistol, but yeah, very, very impressive save round there.
I find it a little bit interesting here for Parallax that Raz actually opted to buy a Galil in that second round. Do you think maybe he might have been better off just taking a 5-7 or something, saving up for the AWP?
Yeah, look, he could well be, but I think he was more concerned with that utility usage, so he's gone for the rifle buy there with the smoke, the Molotov, and a couple of other different bits and pieces to help him out along the way, and certainly it looks as though if Lonsdale goes down here, so this is, I guess, with 3 Galils, you're probably right. There's way too much money invested in those sub-powerful rifles. But on the flip side, if you win the rounds, you win the rounds. You're not too concerned with it. They'll get plenty of money here as long as Lonsdale can pick up a kill here and there with that SMG.
Yeah, well, that Galil working out for him in that situation. Getting that initial frag here again for Parallax. Should be able to find that one as well. Infrequent is going to go down before... Well, I mean, he did do a reasonable amount of work there. Got Raz down to 9 HP. But is it going to be enough here for Liaz to really be able to clean up? I'm not so sure.
Well, Kyoto's picked up an interesting kill there in mid because he's going to come back into A with a rifle. Unfortunately, his teammate in Liaz can't get anything to go. And now Kyoto will go down to half HP. And he's going to decide whether or not it's worth going for here. He's going to bide his time and wait for Sonic to potentially make a move here as he enters the bomb site once again.
Yeah, I don't see any reason really not to go for this one. They've managed to get a pretty great position here actually heading up there from Sonic, but unfortunately he's going to go down straight away. Kyoto will be able to trade that one out, but now finds himself in a 1 versus 2 without any armor, only on 1 HP, and this is almost unwinnable for him.
Definitely, but I like the thought process there for Kyoto. Didn't want to save that Galil, no point at all, and takes down an extra man on 1 HP. So great work for him. He started nicely there. He's on 4-3, and Frequent gets that AWP 1 step ahead of the Parallax guys. Maybe the Galil buy actually as you said, cursing them early on in this game, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not Infrequent can put that to good use.
Well, Hats did have enough money there to drop an AWP for Raz, but I guess they opted to just go for the 5-rifle setup, maybe keep something in the bank for if things aren't going too well. And as you mentioned, Infrequent, you know, he's always going to be that player that we want to see on the AWP, and no surprises here for Athletico to be putting that onto him straight away.
No, not at all, but it will be Parallax guys running rough shot through A here, and that's a great series of flashbangs to get themselves into this open bomb site. And Liaz will get taken down, maneuvering himself around the quad boxes there, and now Jokes will have the opportunity to go huge, and he does. Infrequent not picking up the slack there too well. Fired down upon, and this is now becoming awkward for Chuch and Sonic.
That's actually 3 kills so far in this round for Jokes, and he's actually poised to get this one as well. Unfortunately, Yellow going to be taking that one away. Chuch going to be going down to him. Sonic will be able to trade out Yellow there, but still a 2 versus 1 here in the favor of Parallax once again. This is going to be a difficult round for Sonic to negotiate.
Absolutely, that grenade needs to do some serious damage, and does not do any. So
Yeah.
Jokes will survive and get that sick headshot. He opens up with the quad, and all of those bangers are right on target. So 4 headshots opening up there for Jokes, and the individual brilliance of Parallax actually continues to outweigh that of Athletico.
I'm seeing some good signs here for Parallax. It seems like the majority of their members are starting to get a little bit of that ball rolling. I mean, we haven't seen too much flashy, I guess, from Raz, who has been one of their star players of late. But, you know, we've seen a good round there from Yellow, a good one from Jokes, and things are going definitely in their favor so far.
Yeah, every round that Parallax can pick up without buying an AWP is a victory for them.
Yep.
Not just obviously on the scoreboard, but mentally, they'll be very, very happy with the way this is going. Kyoto trades Hats nicely. He goes down after getting one, and all of a sudden Athletico have a outsider's chance at this round, but Raz quenches his thirst for frags, picks up Chuch, and now puts Parallax in a very, very nice position here to pick up the 5th round.
I don't mind that from Athletico. I mean, we've seen things not quite working out for them doing those standard holds. So obviously on that pistol round here, the eco round, they've opted to change things up, go for a little bit of an aggressive push into Squeaky. And it did work out for them in the end there. Unfortunately, though, a couple of their players did get traded out. So still in the favor of Parallax, but the intent there from Athletico was good.
Yeah, absolutely, as Raz gets Liaz, and that will be the AK down. Raz picks up yet another kill. So his thirst for eco frags has not been quenched, as I first thought. And Sonic all of a sudden left on his lonesome.
Yeah, this seems like it's a bit of a deja vu situation here for Athletico. So many times they've been in the 1vx situations, and Parallax have been certainly weighted to win that round. You should expect that Parallax should be able to pick this one up as well. So Athletico, you know, like there's a bit of a difficult situation now for them because they have to sort of go somewhere from here. They've already tried out that AWP on Infrequent, certainly didn't work out. I think they can put it on him again because he wasn't even given much of an opportunity to have an impact on that round.
That's right, and Athletico are really going to have to tighten up their A defense and make sure that Liaz is actually spotting good angles. The last couple of rounds, including the pistol round, he was caught just, I guess, out of position somehow at quad box, and he wasn't able to find an angle onto any opponent at all. And if you're Liaz, that's not what you want to do. As Sonic tries to get the double, but he runs out of ammunition in the chamber. He'll go down, and Parallax look as though they're riggedy rolling through this game, and they're up 5-zip.
Yeah, that was a pretty good passage of play there for Parallax. They got that 1-for-1, but obviously took the single gun out of the hands there from Athletico. So reasonably important in terms of the economy side of things. Infrequent, we can see, has been able to pick up another AWP here. So, well, hopefully for the Athletico Brotherhood side, he'll be able to get something done in this round.
Yeah, but we're actually seeing a carbon copy of the online series between these two teams unfold once again. It was Athletico who picked Keish in the online series, and it was Parallax who took that map in dominant fashion. So it doesn't match up well here for Athletico on Keish. It seems as though Parallax have worked out exactly how they play, where they play, and why they play there.
Yeah.
And even when Athletico do counter, Lonsdale and Parallax are right there countering back and making sure they're staying on top of the game.
Yeah, Parallax at the moment certainly reading the play very well. Raz not quite going to get the kill across there. Did do a bit of damage to Liaz, but unfortunately for him, not going to be enough damage.
Yeah, perfect example there. Raz pre-firing the top of the crate line. Liaz is known for sitting there. So you can see they put some work into preparing for this match, and you expect nothing less from a Lonsdale outfit.
Does seem like Parallax trying to throw some utilities into the mid area. It does look like it's actually going to be a full mid execute with the wall of smokes, and they will get out mid, unsurprisingly, without taking too much damage. Raz up there on the boost, just spotting in towards the Z connector. Not going to see anyone. And at the moment, Parallax, I mean, not really utilizing this mid control just yet. Seems like they're actually going to give it up and just leave yellow in there, perhaps on the lurk. Yeah,
this is exactly what I wanted to see from Athletico. Just giving up mid after it's been forcefully taken a number of times and try and do this as quickly as possible as Liaz will open up an angle with a flashbang, try and force his way back into the side. It's going to be interesting to see how many kills he can get from that spot. He needs multiple, but he won't get one. Jokes and Lonsdale once again just completely overrunning that bomb site, and now Athletico once again on the retreat, and that A bomb site is looking particularly shaky as once again Yellow finds himself in a favourable angle and takes down Sonic. This is one-way traffic here as Infrequent can't find the body there. He just finds the leg. See Simcore giving some little golf claps to his team.
Courtesy clap.
Come on, boys. I've won plenty of these sorts of games in my time. It's your turn to step up. And definitely in a great position here, Parallax, to not only close out this half, but get some real momentum running into the rest of this series, where I think that they will struggle a lot more than they are now.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this has been a great start here for Parallax. Athletico now have scrounged together a bit of a pistol armor buy, but it's not going any better than their rifle rounds here, as we can see Yellow picking up that initial frag. Has spotted out another player, Infrequent. Going to get one, but will be traded out straight away. And, you know, once again, the round just completely weighted in the favour of Parallax here.
Yeah, that's what happens when you try and run at people with guns when you don't have them.
Yes.
You generally get mowed down.
Indeed, and have a look at the economy coming out here for Parallax. They haven't been challenged at all in really any of these rounds, and you can see already Yellow sitting on that $16,000 of cash. The rest of his team doing pretty well for themselves as well.
Yeah, you could confuse Parallax for Wall Street bankers right now. They're fully cashed up and ready to spend. Interestingly, though, they're very, very content with keeping this 5 rifle setup and not getting Raz onto that AWP. I think as soon as Athletico do win a round and Infrequent has any sort of impact on this one, he's going to take the gamble, moving in front of the smoke. Here, what can Infrequent do? He's been flashed, so great counter flashes there from Parallax coming out. And the opportunity that was there for Infrequent to get that opening pick has now been slowed down somewhat, but he's still going to try and find an angle here in the midst of some serious pressure, and he can't get away, but he seems to have found his way close, and that'll be one. Can it be more here for Infrequent? He does elect for that AK, and now Parallax will get the bomb down with plenty of time to spare, so great hit there from the Parallax guys.
It's really strange how this round is playing out. Raz actually going to be able to take down Chutch there, but also inevitably picks up his teammate Yellow. Finally, we can see a little bit of an advantage coming into this one for Athletico. 3 versus 1, as we saw Jokes going down. Raz is able to peg one back, but he's going to peek straight into the site and straight into Kyoto's loving embrace. The first round on the board there for Athletico.
Yep. And it will be, as I said, very interesting to see what Raz does now, or Lonsdale rather, in his instructions to the team. No, they've gone straight back to the 5 rifle buy, so they're not willing to accept that one round proveth the formula does not work, so they're going to give one more roll of the dice here. But as you said in the previous round, Elfish Guy, these guys are so cashed up and out in front on I guess a CT or at least an even map, that they're willing to take the chance that their 5 rifle game will still be on point. And they're moving back towards B once again.
Yeah, some heavy utility use here from Athletico to try and slow things down. They've actually boosted Chutch up into the vent as well. So a bit of a different hold coming out on that B-bomb site now for Athletico. We'll see how Parallax is going to be able to negotiate it.
Yeah, Sonic, they're getting caught off guard, but the flashes are good, and he'll actually spray 2 down. Chutch picks up 1 in the vent room, and this secondary B push from the Parallax guys has ended out the same way as the first one. But look, Yellow has a real opportunity here to cash in, and he does get the frag. Now the difficult 2 versus 3 will begin to unfold here as Infrequent does spot a line in the vent. He doesn't get taken down, though. That could be costly later on.
Certainly could. Infrequent down to 13 HP. Yellow will be able to close him out in the end, so all's well that ends well there for Parallax. Still, they have a couple of players to watch out for. They're going to have to cross this little bit of a gap there. Kyoto might be able to spot out Yellow here, but it seems like Yellow is on the ball. He's going to be able to pick up Kyoto there, and that should allow a pretty easy bomb plan here for Parallax. Liaz, though, lurking around there in the tree room, looking for an easy pick.
Yeah, and that's a great flash, and he will get in the side. He spots one, but he doesn't spot the second one. Raz has done a great job hiding in the smoke. I don't think anyone knows he's there. Yellow is absolutely killing it right now. What a series he started with in the first half of the first game. You can see 17 kills for 3 deaths and 2 assists. The rest of his team can barely even make up the numbers to go along with it. And look,
have a look at this. Raz and Hats on the bottom of the scoreboard for Parallax. Who would have expected to see that?
Well, look, I think that 9 rounds in, only having one player in double digits is a very, very strange phenomenon that we don't see very often. And not only is Yellow the only one in double digits, he's streaking ahead. He's miles ahead. And he is the sole, I'll say it again, he's the sole reason Parallax are currently winning. He's had 2 3-kill rounds. He's had 1 4K, and of course that epic team down on pistol. He's just absolutely giving it to the Ath boys and says, I've got it on LAN. It's yours to take. Come and get me.
Yeah, well, that's the trouble, isn't it, for Athletico? They don't have that experience on LAN, and might be hurting them a little bit here because, you know, we've seen them throughout the last month, at least online, absolutely terrorizing everyone. They've faced everyone that is at this competition, and they've beaten them.
Yep.
So what's going wrong here for them at the moment?
Well, I actually don't think anything, strangely enough, because we've seen this game be played out online between these exact 2 teams, and Parallax won in this, or were winning and ended up taking the match in very similar fashion. So I don't necessarily think it's anything to do with LAN versus online just yet.
Right.
We'll see in map 2 if that's definitely the case as
Yeah.
we move forward in the series and see how these guys play. But right now, I just think it's a very, very bad non-veto from the Athletico boys. I know that it's tough because they share a lot of the same maps in the map pool, but at this point, if you've been torched like that on a map, even if it's your best map and their best map doesn't necessarily mean that you'll always come out on top.
Yeah, it is always going to be a difficult situation. It would have been a little bit surprising, I guess, to see Athletico getting rid of Cache, being that it is their most picked map of late. But you know, sometimes these things have to be done because you know, if the map is certainly going to be favouring your opposition, then why not get rid of it? But you know, then that leaves something open. You know, like the train, which we're going to be seeing later, perhaps. For Parallax to pick, which is also a good map for them. So it's a really tough situation here for Athletico. It
is, and something that no one's really spoken about yet, I guess, and it hadn't really occurred to me till just then when I saw a camera shot of the Athletico boys. This inexperience could actually play to their favour. Do they have any idea what's at stake here, really? They seem like they're smiling and having fun and joking around, just like the Parallax guys were, but they're 8-1 down on the scoreboard, and they are going into an eco, so this could potentially be 9-1 down. Well, it should be 9-1 down on the scoreboard, and it hasn't really occurred to anyone yet that Ath are just here to have fun and do what they can do and not really put any pressure on themselves as Lonsdale gets the entry onto Sonic and then changes it up and smashes Liaz straight away on that angle.
Yeah, Kyoto going to be doing his best there from heaven, but not going to be able to get too much there. Raz will be able to take him out now, changing his sights. Wow, nice little one-tap there from... it was Lonsdale who got the kill, not Raz. So never mind that train of thought. But in the end, the round going to be going to Parallax. As expected, 9-1. And actually a good anti-eco from Parallax. They didn't lose a single weapon either. No,
and it's been a fantastic, clean, easy start for Parallax here. You can see Lonsdale putting down the law. Raz seems to understand what the hell's going on there. And he's playing a different role to what he normally does. He's cleaning up on the opposite side of the map right now. And... he's usually obviously in charge of that AWP, so a big change for him, but it seems to be working very, very well at the moment for Parallax as they have all the momentum here with this 5-rifle setup that they've adopted. And maybe this is even to the point where they've thrown this at Athletico by virtue of the fact that they thought Raz would be on the AWP. And this is just a complete change-up, but infrequent finds
well, that
Raz.
Was a bit perplexing.
It was perplexing, and that's the first time we've seen any Parallax player really out of position and forcing the issue. I guess the scoreboard has something to do with it, though.
It is interesting that you should mention they're sticking with this, but I guess there is that old saying of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And when you're 9-1 up, you know, what's the point of changing things when you're just trundling along and having a good time? Unfortunately, in this round, for Parallax, Raz just decides to push the smoke straight into A main on his own and gets taken out. But still, a few players left alive for Parallax. See if they can negotiate this round like they did perhaps the pistol round.
Yeah, and look, it usually means when you get the first pick that you're in a good position to win the round, but Athletico, out of these 10 rounds, have got the first pick in 6 of the rounds and have only managed to win 1. So they're having troubles finishing off late in the round, and that has everything to do with the fact that Lonsdale is pulling the strings like the puppet master he is right now and making some great reads, and that will continue as Kyoto finds hats. And that will definitely be a step in the right direction as he's going to spray down onto Jokes, do a lot of damage, but now it's a 4 versus 3 once again, but the Danger Man Yellow is still active, and that scares me.
Certainly is. He's also on full HP, hasn't really been able to take a duel just yet, so we'll see what happens when he starts to get involved in the round. Lonsdale, in the meanwhile, has picked up infrequent. Liaz in a great spot here, but completely whips it onto Lonsdale and absolutely punished for it. That was... every day of the week should have been a kill for Liaz and wasn't able to pick it up. And once again, we're going to be seeing Athletico choke mid-round into the late round situation. It's a 2 versus 1. Chuch going to be taken down there by Yellow, and that was a very painful round to watch for Athletico.
It was. Unfortunately, Liaz there got a flash that wasn't intended for him. So he's not looking at the angle the flash is coming at. And it's bounced back onto his screen and caused him to miss there. But nevertheless, Parallax looking fantastic right now. 18-3-3 once again on yellow. So he is just in dominator fashion. They need to find a way to neutralize his gameplay right now, and Parallax looking as though they're going to make the right read once again and head towards B, where it's just Chutch and that P250 eagerly waiting. And he will pick up the first one. That's really sharp. Can Chutch get another one? He puts out a lot of damage, but can't close the second. And once again, Parallax should have an open side here to get themselves into and pick them up their 11th round.
I don't think Chutch will necessarily be too disappointed with that, actually,
no way.
because you know, he's been able to do essentially what is 2 players worth of damage to Parallax. You know, maybe he didn't get the 2 picks, but he got 1. And a couple of these Parallax players are relatively low. Might be an easy cleanup for Athletico to see if the rest of these players are going to be able to do anything. Doesn't seem like it, as we've seen a couple of kills as a result going in the favor of Parallax. And now Liaz trying to make his way onto the side. He's going to be able to pick up Jokes, but immediately traded out there by Lonsdale. Infrequent now on 11 HP with that Deagle. And nothing but a dream, and unfortunately the dream's going to be crushed there by yellow. 11 on the board now for Parallax. Looking very good in this first half.
They are looking very good, and uncharacteristic of the fragging for Athletico here. They're not really coming to play in this particular matchup. However, it is not it's not a situation that they need to be too concerned about, because we've seen their resilience in previous series. We've seen how they can come back from behind multiple times on multiple maps. And it is worrying, obviously, in this particular matchup on Cache that they won't be able to influence this at all. But remember, they only need 3 or 4 rounds on CT. If they can get their T-side working like Parallax, we can see the exact same thing straight back.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a very interesting round swap, or half swap rather, when we see Parallax going over to their CT side. Hat's going to be able to pick up Sonic there. Yellow as well, picking up Chutch on the entry. And, well, you have to think Sonic probably should have found a kill there, but unfortunately didn't. And Parallax, once again, going to be getting complete control of that B-bomb site. And Athletico left here really just trying to find something out of this round.
Yeah, look, Athletico haven't done too much wrong here in the whole game, apart from just missed shots that they should be hitting, including that one there from Infrequent. He's not managed to get the exit frag there. Kyoto will take a lot of damage, down to 3 HP, and he'll get out just barely alive. But obviously, Athletico running out of time here, running out of rounds to get on the board. I know they have a strong T-half, but can they even get to a point where it's going to matter or not? It doesn't look like they will.
Well, it's now at the point, if Parallax wins the pistol round in the second half, the map's basically over. You know, you could give it a bit of leeway if they had maybe 5 rounds to play with, but now they only have, what, 3 if they win the next 2? So it's really getting tough here for Athletico.
Yeah, and Frequent they're able to hit 1, but not the second. He does do damage through the wall, but can't convert. Yellow and Jokes putting on a bit of a show here. 32 kills and 6 assists combined so far in this matchup of only 13 rounds old, but Athletico here cling to their sole round, and we can see the shift here in pressure back towards the A-bomb. Slightly as is going to be put under it once again, and Jokes is just seeming to find the kills wherever he goes. Kyoto will pick up a double, and that's great from him. Infrequent repositions himself nicely. He's getting fired upon. Kyoto picks up the triple with the Famous. Could this be the moment the boys from Athletico have been waiting for to fire up? Infrequent finds the 4th kill of the round with the assist there from Kyoto. But the Danger Man Yellow is still up and active, and 3 versus 1 is something we've seen him do not once, but at least twice this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be a tough ask for him, but as you mentioned, we've seen him do it previously, and he's got a minute to play with, so a little bit of time, if he can get across this little bit of an angle, he might be able to rotate across to B or something like that. There's still plenty of options available here for Yellow to utilize. It's
clear, though, that Athletico don't really know where Yellow is right now. You see Infrequent moving back to, looking back towards mid. Kyoto is watching the angle towards A main, but he needs to be very careful because he's about to be mollied out. Oh, that miss from Yellow, and Yellow.
Not too happy about that.
Yellow has done a lot of damage, and Infrequent there choosing to re-peek off that one, and Yellow's actually in a strong position here to get a lot of kills, but Kyoto picking up the quad and the assist. He's pulled this team out of the fire on that round, and he's won them their second round, so it'll be interesting to see if they can back it up and get a third, or will Parallax jump right back on board, and finally Raz has got the AWP in hand.
Well, we've been waiting to see it all half, and as you mentioned, finally, here it is. He's been in pretty good form with that AWP, I got to say, over the last month or so. But I guess the land's a different beast. Usually we do see Raz stepping up pretty well with the AWP, but Lonsdale is going to be the first one to be going down here to Infrequent in this round.
Yeah, beautiful shot there by Infrequent, nailing his first shot of the round, but long way to go here for Athletico, to say the least. They've been really struggling on the back end of rounds with the communication, the precision that Parallax are playing with right now. They're playing fantastic cache CS, and Liaz will once again move towards that spot on the top of the crates, although that seems pretty sure as a second Molotov in as many for Parallax gets misdirected. They need to work on their grenades. Their aim seems to be working fine, but their grenades are just not on point right now.
Yeah, certainly not. Raz now with the AWP. Oh, through the flash, he's going to be able to take down Infrequent. Bit of luck, I guess. But can't fault him for that one. A nice shot there onto Kyoto. Certainly looking good so far. But it's still a 3 versus 3 here for Parallax, and they have yet to break that A-bomb site.
They haven't, and Raz is looking deadly and dangerous as he's got that single scope in on the A-bomb site. It's going to be up to his teammates to try and, I guess, change the positioning of the Athletico players as Jokes makes his way towards that speedway area. Raz will continue to watch the wide angle. He's cleared the corner, and now this series of grenades could be very, very damaging, and it is. Church there taking so much damage, and Liaz going down.
Yeah, the A-bomb site now going to be in control of Parallax. They should be able to get the bomb down. Sonic, luckily for Athletico, is able to take down Jokes there. He's going to put himself in a bit of a better position, but it's still a 2 versus 1. Raz down to 21 HP. Sonic is going to have a bit of a tough time taking out this round, but certainly is going to be doable. Oh, we spotted out Yellow there, but not able to fire a shot off. Only has 7 bullets to play with, and that's going to be enough there to take down Yellow. Raz only on 21 HP. This USB could do it, but no. Raz too sharp there with the AWP. In the first half, looking good there for Parallax.
Yeah, Sonic played that clutch to perfection. Unfortunately, he couldn't make the USP count towards the end. Raz going ham. So was Yellow, and the whole Parallax outfit looks as though they're pretty comfortable right now. On the Athletico side of things, I mean, I'm casting my eyes across both teams, and Athletico don't look too flustered. There's no heads in hands, there's no banging of tables, there's no verbal sort of rage at each other. They're just trying to work together to figure this one out. And certainly they've got a long way to go in this map, but I'd like to see them get at least 6 or 7 in a row here on T-side. Even if they don't end up closing out the map, puts them in good stead for the next one.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to start off here with the pistol round. If they lose that one, Parallax is going to be basically shoring themselves up for a first map victory here with a bit of a landslide, I suppose. But it is going to be looking like the A bomb site is the option of choice here for Athletico. And unfortunately for them, not working out too well. Jokes and Lonsdale picking up a kill or 2 apiece. Lonsdale finding his second one there, and that is going to be pretty much all she wrote. As Kyoto still alive, but slowly but surely getting surrounded there, and the pistol round goes in the favor of Parallax.
That's the first time that I've seen an Athletico player look nervous as opposed to just flat out getting outshot or outplayed. That right there was a situation where that guy in the corner needed to go down. The shots didn't fall, and as the shots didn't fall, the panic became more and more real, and it didn't work out in Atletico's favor. So they're getting absolutely handed. They're getting it handed to them right now by Parallax. And look, Athletico, rough start to their LAN tournament and rough start to their, I guess, LAN experience. But they are a strong-minded team, and we've seen them come back, as I said, in so many series in the past. You can't write them off just yet, but geez, it's looking good for Parallax right now.
Certainly is. Lonsdale will start off well there onto Sonic as well. The B bomb site now is going to be the one that Athletico heading towards, and once again not working out too well for them. 15 on the board now for Parallax, and 1 round away from a first map win.
Yeah, definitely, and the office work supply closet going to work there once again as the UMP stapler gets the business taken care of there in the opening of B. However, I mean, nothing's working for Athletico. Nothing has worked for Athletico. No strats, no communication, no shots. And I've said this many, many times in the past, Selfish Guy. It's better to get blown out in a game of LAN and just be able to scrap it from your mind than lose a couple of close games and think that you were in it. Right now, Athletico would be feeling as though they were never in the game. They never had their car. And they need to go full need. They need to just really get into it and make sure that second map is committed to.
Luckily enough for Athletico, that second map is their pick. So perhaps that's going to... I mean, you can't necessarily draw too many conclusions from that, but theoretically it should help them out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I would, as I said, I didn't really think Athletico could come back, although you never count them out. But you really want them to just start to get a few rounds on the board, get a few kills behind them, so that when they move into the second map, they're playing with a lot more confidence than they maybe would have. And it's going to open up for Liaz here. He gets a double. Is that what is required to awaken the sleeping giant that is Liaz on this Athletico roster? He's got a couple, and now they're taking B with a little bit of authority here. But they're coming up against the man of the hour, Yellow, who gets the kill through the smoke on the bomb planter. It won't matter too much. And Athletico here in 3 versus 3 now. We're about to get the bomb down.
As you mentioned, the bomb going down there for Athletico. And, well, I mean, this is the round that's looked the best for them so far in this half, and they need to win this one to stay in it. But still going to be a tough ask here. Parallax have got some utilities to work with. They've got the rifle advantage as well. And Yellow absolutely on fire at the moment, finding the first one. Jokes finding the remaining 2. And that's going to be it there. Parallax picking up the first map, 16-2.
Yeah, dominating, crushing, demoralizing. All of these words are apt for the first map in favor of Parallax. They lead 1-0 in the series, and it is disappointing to see Athletico start like that, but at the same time, we've seen them start like this in so many competitions that they've played in, getting drummed on the first map and then coming back strongly in the second and third maps. So, yeah, I wonder what words of wisdom will come from Gomez here after that first map. He's obviously a very well-seasoned motivator himself, traveling with the LA Renegades most of his days. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he can come up with. How can they go back to the drawing board? What changes can they make? Or do they just look at it like, you know, we were never in it. We never had a chance.
Yeah, to me, it just seemed like they never really got into the swing of things.
Yep.
I mean, you know, we didn't see much from Liaz, who's been a star fragger for Athletico.
Yep.
We didn't see much from Infrequent, who's also been the other star fragger there for Athletico. And basically everything just seemed to be going the way of Parallax. And it's sometimes very tough to get back into a game like that, where you're just not necessarily hitting the shots. Things aren't going your way. So hopefully, I guess, the map change is going to be a little bit of a mental reset for Athletico.
Yeah.
Moving into it.
Yeah, I just don't think that they would care too much about going down one map. As
No,
I
of
said,
course not.
They basically live there. They basically live one map down in series, and they're very comfortable where they live. So hopefully they can find their home on the second map.
Yeah, it should be a pretty interesting one. Overpass coming up. Do you have a feeling of, you know, we kind of spoke about how we thought Case was going to be reasonably close. Do you think that's going to be a close one on Overpass?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I hope that they can just get their game on regardless of the score.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, it's been a map that we've seen both teams playing on here. Not sure if Parallax are necessarily as comfortable on it for Athletico, but we will have to check that one out after this fairly short little bit of a break for the teams. In the meanwhile, we will throw over to the analysis desk to break down that first map.
Thank you very much, Elfish Guy. Now, PDG over there is saying that the boys, they probably don't feel too bad losing that first map. It's better to lose 16-0 than it is to go into overtime, and that they love to be one down. If I was Coach Gomez, I'd be saying, you know, guys, I think you should probably pack up and move somewhere where you're 2-0 up after 2 games instead of consistently going 1-0 down. That would just be me. I'm not Coach Gomez. What do you think, Jim?
It's a pretty interesting situation that they're in. Obviously, we said in our pre-game analysis that the team that found that comfort zone early on would be the team that would take a lot of momentum, and through Yellow, they found that shining light, and that deagle shone through in that pistol round. So that was absolutely insane. From there, they never looked back.
Yeah,
they really never looked back.
They just 16-2 obviously is a pretty convincing scoreline, irrespective of the fact that it was their map pick, right? Case, as we said, is a map that Athletico have played like 4 or 5 times in the last month or so competitively, and they had a 50% win rate, so it's obviously less than that now. How do you think they're feeling after that snow? Do you think they went to this going, you know what, we're going to lose Cage, we're happy to lose Cage?
I think they would have known. They would have been playing Cage and hopefully prepared for it a little bit. So I think this result might shock them just a little bit. They haven't really had a chance to get going, and like Pete says, he'd rather lose 16-0 than have it overtime. At least in overtime, you can be confident in the next map. You know, we've got our aim on, everything's going okay. Maybe we just lost some unlucky decisions here or there. But on that map, they got absolutely decimated, and some of their players didn't even get out of the blocks.
They didn't even really get to play Counter-Strike, did they?
Yeah, Liaz was 0 for a 7 at some point, and so was Chuch. They just got smashed, and it was just like Coldplay. It was all yellow.
Yeah, you've been saving that one up. Now, Jim, you said a little bit earlier, I think when we were watching the game, that this was a very similar result to what we saw online. You said like 16-5 or something was the was the result between Parallax and Athletico on this same map just last week.
Yeah, they only played each other in the week just gone, actually. So, obviously, still very fresh in their mind. Similar scenario, funnily enough, 13-2 was the half here. 12-3 was the half last time they played on the same map. So, unfortunately for Athletico, I think they got their CT side first. Now, they confessed that their CT side on Cache leaves a lot to be desired. We were all just privy to that.
Yeah.
So, I think if they would have just managed to get themselves onto the T side, which they do prefer a little bit, they would have been a little bit more comfortable. T side, you can afford yourself those mistakes early on. There's a lot of pressure in the first game of the day. Coming into a CT side, I guess cold would be the way to put it.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't even necessarily know they were going to be on stage. They didn't know, how this was going to play out. Here they are playing on stage to obviously a live audience and of course online. So there's probably, if you're on Parallax, there's probably a couple of good replays in that game you want to put into your montage. So we've got one from Jokes. Let's take a look at him. He picks up a three-piece here, I believe. We'll see, there he is with the molly. That's at least he knew how to molly that time around. Picks up one. You've got Kyoto and Liaz there left alive, and of course I suspect we will see him find this third kill there with the AK. Nice work from him. As I said, I suspect there's probably a lot of clips in that game that might go into the Parallax montage.
I think there'll be a few.
Yeah,
That's right. I mean, we saw it too. We discussed it in the game. Ian, you said that despite the fact that Parallax were making a lot of mistakes, they weren't being punished for it.
Yeah.
So I think that was the start or trend from start to finish, and that's how we find ourselves now so quickly into the second map.
All right, so let's do what PDG asked us to do and put this map aside. Let's talk about Overpass. Okay, this is the map that they chose, that Athletico chose. They've got 100% win rate in the recent sort of time frame on it. But again, it's worth mentioning, but you can't put too much into it, I think, purely because they haven't played against these guys on Overpass all that much. The lineups change all the time. Should they be feeling confident here on Overpass, or is Parallax with that 16-2, are they going to come into this?
I don't think after that game you can feel confident about anything. You just definitely want to get a good start on this next map. Overpass, I mean, I wouldn't put it past Parallax. I know they play Overpass. It's not like, one of their maps they don't play. They might not have a very good success rate on Overpass, but at least, they've got some strategies and whatnot. And if they come out all guns firing like they just were then, they might put away Athletico, who just seem a bit like sleeping giants at the moment. But at the same time, it depends. If they can start off on a good side, like maybe start CT and hold off the aggression, and maybe get Parallax just questioning themselves just a little bit. That's their only chance back into this. They're just getting blown out of the water at this point. And it's hard to just say, oh yeah, they've got a chance on this map, because right now it looks like they don't. Yeah,
it's certainly a less than ideal situation. And when you come out of a 16-2, do you think if Parallax gets a sort of a run on here at the start, picks up the pistol round, gets sort of like 5 rounds or something, do you think that this is something that Athletico can come back from?
Well, a lot of that requires experience. These guys don't have that just yet. So I think there is a definite danger that if it starts to snowball, that's exactly how it goes. Parallax, though, need not suffer from tunnel vision and need to make sure that they're well aware this is Atletico's pick, and would expect to have something prepared on it.
You would hope so. They knew, it's not like they didn't know who they were coming to. They've actually had quite a bit of lead-up time. In terms of Australian and New Zealand Counter-Strike, you probably don't get more lead-up than we've had in the last month or so for a LAN event. So this is like their perfect situation. If you say, we're a team, we strat, we're prepared, we're going to do our best, like this is it, right? This is about as good as you're going to get.
Yeah, and that is Parallax. That is Parallax. They strat, they prepare. And, you might have questioned a couple of their players before to say maybe they're not big impact players. But Yellow just showed them that anything is possible on LAN.
Well, he did. He's over there. He's playing very, very well today. Jim, you said before that you thought Parallax was your pick, correct?
Yep, correct.
So obviously you're feeling pretty good right now about this. You're going to continue with that?
I am, obviously. But I think it's going to be a case of Athletico are going to show their cards or show their hand pretty early on this map. So we'll have an indication fairly soon of whether or not they are going to go to that third or not. From Parallax perspective, I think they're one of those teams too that have quite a deep map pool compared to a lot of other teams, particularly those that they had disposed of in the competition. Here it's a little bit different, but Overpass might not be a foreign entity to them at all.
No. Yeah, they've got, at the moment, of the last month or so, they've won 50% of the games they played on Overpass. It's one of their worst maps, again, of recent times, as opposed to Cobble, who they played and they've lost all the time, and then Dust and Nuke that they just don't play. So, you know, it's in the bottom 2 of the maps that they do play, I suppose, or have played recently.
I guess you've got to look to how frequently they play it. I'm not too sure on the map stats themselves, but I mean, if they've only played it a few times in the last 2 months, then that would suggest to me that they're not too confident in playing on it, or vice versa. People
Maybe
know
they're
their
not.
strengths.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sniper, how are you feeling now about your pick? You said Athletico 2-0, right? So that's out of the water, right?
No, I think I
Are
said
you still
2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
Okay, sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
So my reasoning behind that was I thought, you know, Parallax might be able to surprise them and they might take a while to get comfortable on land. This is their pick. This is their chance to shine. But they just got handed to them pretty well, yeah? So I'm a bit worried about that prediction now.
Yeah.
But in terms of the prediction, the reason for that was that I thought that, quite obvious that Parallax might win cash. This is where we can hopefully see that the Athletico guys come back and show us what they're made of, show us how they got here. Maybe Gomez gave them a nice motivational chat during the break. And yeah, I think they can push through this map. It's not a strength of Parallax's. We just know they would have prepared for it. So coming out of this map, if Athletico do win it, then I'd maybe tip them to win Train as well.
Yeah. What do you think, Jim? Do you think that Train would go over to someone like Athletico if it got that far?
Well, interesting that Athletico so willingly leave it in their map pool. It's not necessarily that they pick it, it's just that they're still confident in playing it. So obviously, as I said in the pre-game, that this has boded pretty well, the map veto that is, for Parallax. So yeah, at this stage, I still feel as though it's a coin flip between the two teams if it goes to that third. Both teams will, again, reveal their hand pretty early on in the piece.
Yeah. No, I guess that's fair enough for sure. So, not a close first match at all, but I think we can all agree that if Atletico can get a foothold in this second game, we would expect they should have the advantage here. It's their map, it's their choice. They should be consistent players. They played relatively well in recent time. They won as you said, they qualified through to a competition in China as well, which they're going to. If they get dropped from here straight away down to the lower bracket, that's really going to make life difficult for them. At least in terms of thinking about how they're going to go overseas. If you can't even beat a team in Australia, how are you going to go in China?
That's right. Right now, their map pool is looking pretty weak. I mean, if you take Keish out of it, you've got Nuke not in it. You don't have Cobble in it.
No.
So that's very small considering you're about to depart internationally. So they definitely want to work on something. I think their Keish, they've got the fundamentals of. It's just their CT. It's just so bad, which they admit their CT is horrible. So if they can just do some research on some other teams, just try to take some points from them, how to stop rushes, how to get map control, how to put a wall up for the other team so they can't just do whatever they like, which is what it looked like Parallax were doing. But yeah, I think what we saw from Parallax in that first game was just unprecedented. We haven't seen that sort of firepower from them before, so everything's up in the air right now.
Fair enough.
And I mean, from an Athletico perspective, we touched on the fact that they are using a substitute. Now, it's not your traditional substitute. He was formerly a core member of the team. They do still have a lot of base strategy, with him still having it fresh in his memory. I think the fall down for these guys is going to be on the chemistry element of things, the timing, not so much the executions themselves, but obviously the timing and getting that right. It's going to be the difference between these two teams at the moment. So it's overpass. It's very much a tactical map at this stage, particularly because up until recently, it wasn't all that played in Australia. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Immunity beating Cloud9 on overpass would have been a catalyst to that.
Yeah, I think that was it. I mean, once we beat them on overpass and we went overtime against Virtus.pro on overpass, then other teams sort of decided maybe they'd play us on overpass, and before, the people just vetoed that against us. And then once they had seen how we had played it and they felt like they had understood how we played it, we came up against Team XL5 on that map, and they beat us. And then Counterpit, and then everyone, or maybe Faceout, I can't remember. But then everyone thought, hey, we can get Immunity on overpass. And so the scene started playing it.
Yeah, I guess it provided them with a blueprint on what to go
You
on.
also obviously start running out of maps, right? Inferno was a map that we saw played a lot within Australia and New Zealand. Now we've got Nuke in a map that probably we don't see nearly as much for whatever reason. We're not playing it enough. We're uncomfortable on it. Whatever they may, you lose one map, you gain another one, and you don't want to play it. It sort of limits what you can do, surely.
Well, it's interesting because I think at this stage of the game, a lot of teams see Nuke as a perma veto for them. Generally on those matchups that aren't so close, you would see Nuke remain in the pool
Yep.
for longer, and there would be that team that would be considered the underdog, perhaps leaving it in the pool for that length of time, hoping that it comes out as, whether it's the random map or the last map, as something that they could perhaps random the other team on. It's not going to be anything that
It's
set.
really hard because in Australia, when you're versing someone in practice, you've got to decide on a map. And the other team might not want to play Nuke, like 99% of the time. So if you want to be that one team that is specialised in Nuke, who do you practice?
Yeah.
You can't practice anyone. No one will want to play it because all their perma vetoes. So it's going to take someone to team up with another team maybe.
Yeah,
and
well,
boot camp it.
or the benefit perhaps of as Australia and New Zealand grow as a region, you have a look at other games, right? You look at, for example, League of Legends within Australia. They'll have a pro team and then they'll have like a Div 2 team, right?
Yep.
And if you've got that Div 2 team that you can play against and you can keep those strats internal, that's certainly a benefit. Maybe we'll see something down the track. I don't know. Do many overseas teams have Div 2 teams, or is it just doesn't work like that?
No, it just doesn't work like that. So there's like a tier 1, and if you're in the tier 1, you're in a practice group with all the other tier 1, and you organise your practice through that. Some of them are even doing normal business hours now.
Yeah, okay.
So that's just going to isolate them even more, but at the same time, that's what they want. You're the tier 1 team. You don't want other teams coming up to your level.
Yeah.
And so you're happy just versing people on your level and, isolating the community a little bit. So it's just those same teams every time because they're used to versing each other. That's what they want. And Fnatic at the start of their era, they actually really struggled because they weren't in that tier 1 practice group. And then eventually they got in there. But yeah, for a brief period when they were Epsilon, they couldn't get into that tier 1 practice group, and it really held them back quite a lot.
Yeah, I think too that system you speak of buddying teams up or having a sister team per se, is a product of stability. Something that we definitely lack at that level. So yeah, I think for a long while yet, it's probably going to be just luck of the draw whether or not you get a team that's willing to practice a new map like Nuke. But until then, I guess we'll see it as a perma veto.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but it is the nature. I think we saw it like twice in our 16-team invitational leading into this competition.
And I think it was due to the fact that the maps were predetermined as well.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And it's one of those things where it would also be really nice for maybe Renegades or something like that to come back to Australia every now and then and maybe practice some Australian teams and hand over the information that they have, because I'm sure they're going to have to play Nuke sooner or later as well, and that they wouldn't be shying away from any maps, because the ideal scenario is when you're a pro team, you've got a 7-map pool. And we've got these international tournaments that we're trying to go to now, so teams should be looking at Nuke because, a lot of other teams in China, Tyloo, so on, maybe don't play Nuke. You want to be able to leave that in the veto just so you have that extra power. Whereas if you ever feel forced like you have to veto Nuke, you've effectively lost the veto.
Yeah, you've given up one of your vetoes, essentially. And if you've got that ace up your sleeve, particularly as these Australian teams, as you said, will start to branch out.
Who in our region has the best map pool, would you say?
Would come down to who's the most stable over that period of time. I'd like to say, Chiefs, obviously, but obviously they've lost their in-game leader as well. So
yeah, exactly. So right now, you could be saying the best map pool is Parallax.
Potentially, yeah. Offer that suggestion out there, but I think due to a long period of instability, I don't think there is a team out there that can rightfully and convincingly claim that title.
Fair enough. Well, let's see how Parallax goes this weekend. Let's see how they go in our next game in our best of 3. We're heading over to Overpass. Let's go back to our casting desk, Elfish Guy and PDG.
Thank you, Analyst Desk. Yes, some very interesting points brought up there, especially about that Nuke. Obviously, some interesting things going on in the Australian scene, especially considering those maps. Always a little bit dodgy for some teams.
Yep.
But heading into this one, Overpass here between Athletico and Parallax. Should be a good game. I think both teams are going to be reasonably comfortable on this map.
Yeah, look, well, I mean, Athletico should be comfortable
You'd hope so.
on their map pick, but they don't look comfortable right now in terms of how they looked in-game on their CT side. The interesting development for me, whereas if Athletico win the knife, what do they pick? Do they pick Terrorist because they started so poorly on CT in the first map and they want to try and get something going early on with some aggression and some more, it gives you more versatility if you start on T, more ability to open up the map and play at your pace. I think that's really important for them. So they may start on T, but they may think to themselves, look, we've got to lock down CT. Our case just sucks out loud on CT side. So again, we don't really know. The guys in the analyst test were dead right. These maps are a coin flip right now, and it's just Parallax came out with some unforeseen firepower.
Yeah, I mean, Overpass obviously a little bit more of a CT-sided map than Cache is, but does appear that Athletico have gone over to that T side. Not sure who won the knife, but regardless, this is how we're going to see things going. So Athletico this time going to be on that T side first, and well, we'll see how it works out for them. Absolutely,
and something that I guess hasn't been mentioned too much is the age of the Athletico guys. They're literally a bunch of kids looking at them when they're playing. They're such a young team, and they got so much to gain from a win or a loss here as Infrequent puts the pressure on, and that's a great opening exchange there for Athletico. They're really on the ball. Jokes picks up one. Can he pick up two? He does. Chutch and Sonic go down, so great opening there for Athletico, but equally great reply here for Parallax as the pressure gets put on Raz, and he will pick up one, but Kyoto and Infrequent are doing really good work here as well. Yellow will get the kill, and now Infrequent, after picking up two, needs two more.
Yeah, he's in a bit of a difficult position here, only on that 54 HP as well, so things heavily weighted in the favour of Parallax. They have the kit there still on yellow, so even if Athletico is able to get the bomb down, that shouldn't be too much of a difficulty defusing that one for Parallax. But if Infrequent can pick up a 1v1 here, get it into a 1 versus 1 situation, he might be able to find something. Does seem like Parallax will be able to pick this one up easily there. Yellow coming in from behind on long to find that simple kill.
Yeah, Jokes really turned the round on its head there after Infrequent picked up the first kill onto Lonsdale. His long flank was crucial, picking up Sonic and Chutch, and I guess tilting the scales back in Parallax's favour, and that's something that they've done really well repeatedly throughout the first map when they lost that pick. How many times did we see Athletico pick up the first kill and then not be able to finish off the round with any sort of certainty? And once again, we see Athletico here on Eco, which has been a pretty common theme as well, but this time they've got full armour and they've got a bit of resource to them too, so they could go big here.
Yeah, they've decided to force into this one, but that grenade going to do a little bit of damage there over to a few players from Athletico. Yellow will start off well, finding two before going down. Infrequent to find a double kill there for Athletico, but Jokes coming in as a form of backup here for Parallax to pick up the second two kills for Parallax. The bomb going to go down here for Infrequent, but I dare say they're probably not going to be too pleased with how that round turned out.
Yeah, great stuff from Infrequent early on here. He's well ahead on the scoreboard for the rest of his teammates. So he's come to play, and he's picking up a lot of kills. But, yeah, that's just an equipment overload there for Athletico as they tried to hold on to the entry frag. But regardless, Parallax comfortably deal with it. They don't really lose a lot. They lose a couple of SMGs, but which is well outweighed by the money bonus they got by buying them in the first place. Parallax look as though they're cooking with gas once again in map 2.
They certainly do. Yellow going to be reinvesting into a UMP. Remains to be seen what Lonsdale's going to be doing, but there you go. Unsurprisingly, going to be another SMG of his own. So a bit of firepower still on the side here for Parallax. They've got that from us in the M4 should Athletico go for something crazy, but as you would expect, Athletico deciding to just go for the pistols, no armor, and they're just saving in this round.
Yeah, they've taken the conservative approach once again, and they've got P250s across the board with Infrequent buying that Desert Eagle. Jokes is going to just pop up against that wooden wall and see if he can spot anything. He does spot one out, I believe, but it's not enough to trigger any sort of use of resource and rotation. Infrequent trying to find an opening here, Elfish Guy, but nothing forthcoming for Parallax. They're just ready to hold and make Ath take what's theirs.
Athletico, on their other hand, just playing default at the moment, maybe waiting for Parallax to make a mistake here, but certainly seems like Parallax very content to hang around in their bomb sites and play down that timer.
Definitely, and as we reach the minute mark, the only good thing for Athletico here is they've still got 5 members alive. They don't have any sort of utility to get into this bomb site, which looks as though they're still completely unsure. They're really, really looking for this pick. They've left the bomb on spawn, and they're just chilling, basically, like villains until the last sort of little piece of the round. But again, with no utility, you expect the longer this goes on, the less likely Athletico are to come away with the W here.
Yeah, well, you can see there's smoke in short, and then there's the re-smoke coming out from Lonsdale. It's going to really slow things down there for Athletico, but they're going to opt to force straight through it. Actually, great timing as Lonsdale caught with a grenade out. Jokes is going to be in there to grab a double kill. Yellow as well, finding a double for himself. So it's okay in the end there for Parallax, but if they hadn't been able to overwhelm that bomb site there, Athletico could have been a dangerous situation.
Yeah, you see the communication is really solid from Parallax. The minute that kill goes down, that Molotov smashed the bomb site. They were unable to plant, and from then on it was just a cleanup in aisle 3 for Parallax, as once again Yellow seems to have jutted out to an early dominating series of play. He's at 7-1, and he's having the series of his life. Not even joking. I've never recalled in all my years someone playing this far above par where they usually play. I can't remember it.
Yeah, certainly great work from him so far. Interestingly, on this map, we've seen Raz opt to pick up that AWP straight away rather than going for that full rifle setup. But I guess the difference here is that they're on CT side. So it could be a difference in strategy, I guess, for the Parallax guys. Not necessarily playing too much of a part in this round. As you can see, Hat's already starting off with a reasonably easy double kill. Didn't even take any damage for his troubles. So something not quite right in the Athletico camp right now.
No, and I think they are feeling the pinch right now with a bit of pressure as Jokes gets the first yellow, is able to make that automatic stapler be put to good use. Sonic will find the 1B, but won't get much more done, and now he's faced with a pretty grim prospect of having to recover not just the bomb, but the round for Athletico. He'll go down.
Right.
The grenade work, mind you, of Parallax.
That was nice.
Across the board, apart from a few missed Molotovs we saw on Cache,
Yeah.
the Molotovs have been great. The smokes have been well timed. The flashes have been for teammates and intentional.
Yeah.
This is a great, well-prepared Parallax team, and Sandman and Sniper alluded to it on the analyst desk. They had so much time to prepare, and it looks as though they've put that time to good use, and they look really, really good right now.
I've got to say, they actually are looking a lot better even than what we saw them playing in the invitational stages to actually qualify for this. So that really bodes well, because they did look like a formidable side at that point anyway. So, you know, off the back of this performance, it looks like they could certainly go the whole way and win this one.
Yeah, definitely, and by the looks of things, in many people's eyes, Athletico were the favourites to win
Well, I
it all.
picked them as my favourite.
Yeah, and I mean, I certainly would have done a very similar thing as Raz finds the angle, and Kyoto Hats is going to spray down well. Liaz does trade, and Raz will chime in once again. Liaz caught with that Famis out now, but they don't really know where he is just yet. But 2 health and a pretty big dream here for Liaz to come to fruition. But yeah, Athletico would be looked upon as the favourites by many, and with Parallax dealing with them with such ease, all of a sudden, the guys in the second match, Exile 5 and Chiefs, must be scratching their heads and wondering where this Parallax side has been for the last month or so.
Yeah, I mean, certainly things are going to open. Well, I guess the field going to open up a little bit if Athletico drops here, but we'll I guess can't really call that before it ends. There's still plenty of time in this one for Athletico to come back into it. Liaz is going to try and clutch this one out, but on 2 HP, not having much luck. He's going to go down there. I mean, we've seen him pick up some pretty nutty clutches in the past, and that one was a little bit beyond him.
Yeah, definitely. I think what's important for Athletico here is that they realize exactly how far they've come. That's the biggest thing for Athletico for me, that sometimes when things aren't going your way and you're really down and out in a series or one particular match, you just need to take a step back from your current position of turmoil and focus on where you've come from and how you've come from that position. And they were 2 months or 3 months ago not even playing Counter-Strike competitively, and now they're playing at the ESL studio. So maybe just some perspective for them right now might go a long way into bringing their mentality back in. And as we get the first kill underway, once again, the excellent grenade work there from Parallax. I don't think Jokes is going to be too aware of this. The bomb goes down, and that's a horrible outcome here for Athletico.
Yeah, absolutely the worst possible situation they could have found themselves in. Kyoto is able to peg one back, but is traded out immediately there. The round started off well for Athletico, Infrequent picking up the first kill, but all of a sudden goes straight back in the favor of Parallax. As I say that, though, Infrequent able to pick up yellow, and it's a 2 versus 2. Oh, uncharacteristically missing a shot there from Infrequent, and that could have been the round in Athletico's favor if he had have hit that.
Definitely would have helped, but Liaz in a great position here to still clutch. Both CTs are making their way towards his locale, but just like many of the members of the community out there are currently strolling around the neighborhood catching Pokemon, Liaz is looking for his Charizard in this side, and that flash will actually get both these plays. Can he make it convert? No. The crossfire too powerful. Hats takes down Liaz, and this is turning into a very one-sided affair, not just on the scoreboard, not just with the momentum, not just financially, but this series looks to be in grave danger of only going to 2.
Yeah, that was an incredibly difficult situation for Liaz, but at times he's the kind of player that can find something from those situations, and I think in this part, or in the situation that Athletico are finding themselves in, they're going to need Liaz to step up in that sort of part of the map. So,
yeah, absolutely. They need a spark, don't they?
They do. And Infrequent at the moment, I mean, he looked okay, but he's not bringing it. And the other person that you tend to look to on Athletico is Liaz. And when neither of those players are firing, I mean, what else can they bring?
Yeah, and it's really interesting because Parallax I mean, I've said this already on this cast. They've never looked this good. They've never looked this polished.
I agree.
And I think that's got a lot to do with the time frame they had to get organised for this tournament. But not just that, the major going on so close to this tournament really gives a lot of food for thought for someone like a Lonsdale, who's locked in and really conscious and aware of what's going on at a high-level meta internationally. He was able to pull bits and pieces apart that I've seen other teams use, not only on Cache at the major, but also the setups here are almost remarkably similar to a lot of the international teams that we saw play at that major. So he's use that as a tool here in Australia to further their game, and right now they look to be sparkling on form because they're always in position with the better angle right now.
They certainly are. You can see that evidence straight away, again, by Lonsdale. I mean, Raz got caught out with a grenade, but you could see he'd already been able to pick up that one pick initially for Parallax. So, as you mentioned, everything going in the favor of Parallax, and they're putting themselves in positions to do this. It's not a fluke here for Parallax. They're just playing fantastically well at the moment.
Well, it seems as though the round win on Cache was the fluke for Athletico as Sonic finds a nice kill. Joke's able to get 1-2. Liaz once again put in this unfavorable position, but we've seen him clutch this so many times, and that Molotov once again is well timed. Both members of the Parallax Science sticking together. Liaz choosing a nice plant spot off to the right, which gives him an easy exit, but he won't find anything easy right now. He's pegged behind those sandbags. The smoke goes up, but Lonsdale sprays down. And Liaz has no room to operate, and that's been the theme for this game so far. Parallax taking away Atletico's breathing room, taking away their space to operate, and they just look like a much better, well-drilled version of themselves right now.
So presumably Lonsdale just chasing down an AWP here. See if he can pick it up.
Potentially. He has gone a long way, you're right,
Yeah.
but he won't make it.
Well, anyway, they have enough money to buy it, so I don't think Parallax are going to be too bothered about that one. 7 on the board, no losses, and most of the round wins have been reasonably convincing. I mean, the last couple have been close, but the previous ones were very heavily weighted in the favour of Parallax, and well, that's not going to help this round for Atletico. Chutch taking a bit of a knife to the back from Liaz. Not too much damage, but still not the ideal situation.
No, and for Atletico, this is going to be a massive learning curve. There could be no steeper possible learning curve than what they're experiencing right now.
They are just getting demolished.
And what's happening to them right now, the reason they've never experienced this is because they've never versed a team that's well prepared with time up their sleeve to not only focus on their own game, but what you do.
Yeah.
This is clear from me that Lonsdale spent a lot of time countering the stock standard default that Atletico have run that's been so successful for them over so many maps in so many different positions. Literally every flash that's thrown by Parallax is in the direction of someone who would normally play there for Atletico. Every Molotov, every grenade, it's got purpose, it's got meaning, and it's clear that right now the in-game leader for Parallax, regardless of the scoreboard, is the significant difference between the two sides.
Parallax certainly looking like a very well-oiled machine, and unfortunately for Atletico, it doesn't seem like that sort of a situation is going to be ending anytime soon. So, well, I mean, Atletico at the moment have picked up 2 rounds this entire series.
Yes.
So
what a fantastic duo they were, those 2 rounds. But yeah, looking pretty bleak right now for the outlook on Athletico. It only takes 1 round for them to get back into it, but I just can't see where this is coming from.
No.
Parallax have so much map control from the minute the round starts. And Sonic finds Raz, so this could be the opening they need. Hats gets Chutch, and Sonic will fake plant that one. No, he's going to commit now with 20 seconds to go. And his teammate in Liaz is there waiting with him. But Jordan, very, very difficult 4 versus 2 right now.
yeah, these 2 Atletico players are going to get themselves in reasonable post-plant positions, but you would definitely back Parallax here. They've got the player advantage, and even if a couple of the players go down, there should be a trade available, and it is there from Yellow. That looked a little bit dangerous. Almost thought that the trade wasn't going to come out, but in the end, Yellow was there, and another round on the board for Parallax.
Yep, the best part about that situation for Atletico is that Parallax were finally out of resource by the time they got to the defusal, so they burnt all their smokes and Molotovs and everything that had been so great for them. They had 1 flash remaining, and once again, the Parallax guys using that flash to perfection over the left-hand side of the entry into the A-bomb site. And now Parallax look like the strongest team we've seen in quite some time in the Oceanic scene, and that's taking nothing away from Atletico. They've had pretty abysmal performance here by their own standards, but again, they're so young and they're so talented. This sort of platform isn't necessarily where you want them to be judged, as Raz just absolutely hammers Kyoto there.
Yeah, I would have thought Kyoto might be able to get a couple of shots off there, but wasn't to be. Raz able to pick up a relatively easy frag for himself, and again, Parallax getting another advantage in this round, and you'd have to expect that past performances, or at least in the past 8 rounds, those advantages they've been able to convert into rounds. So,
Yeah.
again, not a good start for Athletico.
No, it's not. But I guess for me, what I'm noticing here most about Athletico is they're pretty keen to stick to their game plan, which is slow and steady, grind out rounds, and really try and gain map control. And while it's not been working, as Raz once again pushes through a smoke and finds Infrequent, while it hasn't been working for Athletico, you can see
that double nade. I mean, it didn't do anything, but you can see again, Parallax just looking so good as a unit.
Absolutely, and their grenade work has been on point to a T as Chuch tries to enter this A-bomb site. He's going to have a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. Can he find the first he needs to? Liaz does find one, mind you, and now Yellow, I guess the most in-form player at the moment in this server, still left alive, but there's a lot of responsibility on Chuch here as Liaz and Sonic combine for 7 HP.
Yeah, well, Sonic trying to get something done there, trying to find Yellow, but Lonsdale is there to help his buddy out. Gets himself a double kill. Only one player left alive here for Athletico. Is able to take down Lonsdale, but has been spotted out. And unsurprisingly, taken out there by Parallax, who find themselves another easy round. 9 on the board now. Athletico, really, it's getting to that situation again where they will need to find at least 2 to 4 rounds here if they want to have any hope in the next half.
No, I'm fairly confident this one's dusted, and you never like to say that 9-0 up, but the reason I make that statement is because Parallax are actually winning each of these rounds in the first 10 to 15 seconds of play. Each and every round, Parallax are choosing to make a play that is putting Athletico behind the 8 ball so far they have no chance but to gamble late on in the round, and Athletico now have finally hit the go button and they're going to rush into this B side. Yellow gets a lot of damage down, and that grenade's going to be pretty good there from Yellow as he sprays down and Frequent through the smoke, and he's going to continue to do good work, but Liaz could find a double, no, just a single. However, this is the best Athletico has looked. They've flicked the switch, gone quick, and now that excellent grenade work has forced an unconventional plant, and we're looking at a 3 versus 2 now.
Certainly that's, wow, okay. Raz putting in work there, but certainly that change of pace seems to have caught Parallax off guard. Are they still in with the shot here on this retake? But unfortunately for Hats and Raz, that's going to be shut down quite quickly. Athletico finally finding themselves around.
Yeah, and I guess that's the difference, isn't it? They made a play in the first 10 to 15 seconds of the round that actually won them the round that time. They hit the go button, they went long, they gambled monster. They had such little success in long A and also in that toilet block area that they just thought, bugger it, we're going to go to B and we're going to put some pressure on these guys, see what they're made of. They've got one favorable result now. The question is, can they build on this, or is this something where Parallax immediately make a change and cause the rotations? And Raz has made that change. They haven't used that boost a single time. The first time it comes out, it's to stop that B push, and immediately the counter has been put in place by Parallax, which has been the difference.
I was going to say it will be something to look at here, whether or not Athletico opts to go quickly again towards one of the bomb sites. But, I mean, it didn't look like they were going to do that anyway, but even if they had, that initial pick there from Raz would have just completely shut things down on that B site. Yeah,
it's strange, isn't it, when you're winning, why change what's working? So Athletico have been losing, they win a round, and they think to themselves, hey, this is how we won our one and only round. Logic dictates that we go straight back to this. But when you've got a team like Parallax and an in-game leader like Lonsdale who's willing to put the pressure on the opposition, it does really hurt. And Jokes will once again pick up a double. No, a triple. Jokes. No, Hats actually picks up that third one. My apologies, but Jokes eventually chimes in with the triple. Why? I mean, Athletico need to wait for that smoke to fade.
Yeah.
There's so much time in the round left.
Jokes really holding down that monster tunnel quite successfully here for Parallax, and that's been a real strong point on the map for them. But Athletico, they've actually been to the B bomb site 8 times, and only 3 times to the A bomb site. So, I mean, I feel like there's a bit of an avenue there that Athletico can perhaps take a look at.
Well, I mean, they've tried.
I guess there's really not that much time left in the half. But,
well, no. They've literally tried, but every time they go towards A, they get absolutely creamed. So as a result, they're having to go back towards B just to make ends meet. But in the first 30 seconds, you can see more A pressure coming on here from Parallax, although Athletico have decided that they will hit that A bomb site, and Hats gets a double.
Gets 2 there? I have no idea how he managed to find that, but, well, Athletico respond back well, and all of a sudden peeks straight into Raz, and he finds himself a collateral.
That's pretty much a summary of Atletico's day so far. As soon as something looks as though it's on the up, one of the Parallax players
absolutely
Correct. And
yeah.
the thing about this Atletico roster right now is I can't honestly tell you whether or not I can make a judgment call if they're nervous, if they're good, if they're bad, if they're good on the internet, if they're just whatever the case may be. Every part of Atletico is falling down right now, so you cannot take one aspect or the other and assign blame. Right now, they're just getting purely outplayed by a more prepared, more mature, and I guess a more mentally strong roster in Parallax. They're doing a great job, and they should be thoroughly rewarded for it.
Yeah, they certainly are being rewarded at the moment. 11-1 up and looking poised to be able to take this to a 2-0 victory where I guess the majority of people would have said it was going to be a 2-1, but...
Like, that's brutal.
It is.
That shot right there is just brutal. Like, in frequent think to himself,
And
oh,
like,
yeah,
I almost
I've got
don't
an
even blink twice anymore when I see this from Raz. Like, especially in this particular best of 3 series, he's just been doing it all the time.
And look, it's a Parallax across the board thing. It hasn't just been Raz, it's been Jokes at times.
Yes.
It's been Yellow a lot of the time. Lonsdale's had individual rounds too where he stepped up to the plate. But look at the Parallax scoreboard. 15, 12, 15 and 16 across the board. There is no choke point Atletico are getting from any of these players that is fruitful to them. Essentially on the Atletico side, again, 6-7, 6-6-5 or something like that. No one player is playing well for Parallax. No one player is playing badly for Atletico. This is a team a team smashing from here from Parallax.
Certainly is. Chut's going to try and make his way up short onto that B bomb site, but once again greeted by the wall that is Parallax. And Sonic the only one to be able to find a kill in this round for Atletico. He's down to 50 HP, 33 in fact actually. And he's going to try and flash himself out, but really, what can you do in this situation? Not a lot. Lonsdale finding himself another one.
Yep, and this one will move towards 13-1, so pretty grim here for Atletico. But once again, I can't stress enough how impressed I am with Parallax versus disappointing with Atletico. Sure, Atletico haven't played well, and sure, they've got absolutely hammered, but I haven't seen a team in Atletico that's not had strategy, and they haven't given up, and they haven't particularly choked any shots one way or the other. They're getting killed before they even have a chance to react half the time. And now, once again, Parallax seem to pile on the pressure here by taking aggressive long. They've got 2 AWPs in play, and Raz is just going to have a field day if they elect to come back to this side of the map.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this, actually. I really want to see some more crazy shots coming out from Raz, and, well, I hope Atletico obliges us.
Well, Atletico are in the bin right now, aren't they? They're absolutely in the bin.
There's really not anywhere a nice way to put it. They've
No.
got 3 rounds. 3 rounds is all they've got.
Yeah, and they'll be well aware of the scoreboard too. And it's not as if personally they're in the bin or as players that they're not playing well. Every single thing that they've gone to do has been systematically and categorically denied by Parallax. So it's not a situation where all of a sudden Atletico have forgotten how to play. Parallax have done the work. Lonsdale's done the work. He's put in the research. He's watched the demos. He's fed that information bit by bit to his team. And they just look complete right now. Across the board, Atletico look like they're substantially outmatched. And even with playing with a substitute player in Kyoto instead of their regular 5th, which would be Wizard right now, I mean, I don't think it would make a difference. Parallax have got their number, and they're going to have to go back to the drawing board Atletico for tomorrow and see what they can change and how quickly in order to bridge this gap that's very, very apparent.
Well, it is going to need to be a really quick change because after this, they've only got that 1 life left. Lonsdale almost getting caught with the knife out there, but in the end, Joe's coming in and saving his life. 14 there for the first half for Parallax, and that's actually better than the first half that they found on Cage, which was 13-2. So, well, they're only getting better with age.
Well, I mean, hopefully that happens to Atletico too, because they're so young. But look, it's a sign of maturity here from Lonsdale and co. Whilst I agree with the analyst desk where they don't have much, I guess, studio experience and all that sort of stuff, we're talking about a player in Lonsdale who's played in like 10 of the last 11 nationals here in Australia.
Yeah.
We're talking about Raz, who's played Div 1 and been overseas. We're talking about this standard of player who have not just come to play today, because I think this is as good as Parallax have ever looked, and may ever look.
They're looking way better than what we've seen them before.
They're in a class all of their own right now in terms of how they're looking, not just against Atletico, but period.
If they continue playing like this, they're the best team in Australia.
Correct, and the rotations have been on point. Their grenade work has been on point, as we've elocuted. Their aim has been on point, and when all that's happening, and you've got the experience of a caller like Lonsdale behind the helm, It doesn't bode well for anyone at this tournament, and all of a sudden they've gone from someone who wasn't heavily favoured necessarily in this series even to a tournament favourite within the space of 2 maps. So all credit has to go to Parallax here.
Well, it's not over yet, Pete. Athletico finding themselves a few kills on this pistol round, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We may have a few rounds left to go in this one. Yellow, though, not too keen on that idea. Going to get the entry frag onto the B site. Completely open here for Parallax, and the bomb is going to go down.
Yeah, look, Jokes is in a great position as well, so the most outstanding feature of Parallax's game so far has been their patience. And they once again showing that again. See, Yellow didn't move from the bomb boxes. He only took the duel. He knew he could win. He had absolute faith in his teammate that he was going to do the same thing. And as soon as that first kill went down for the bomb planter, which was Yellow, you saw Jokes swing around that corner and take the double duel with Yellow. It's crucial that we point that out because in that situation, if there's only one player taking a duel, he can be traded. Jokes recognized that fact straight away, swung around the corner, and then gave the last Athletico player a 2 versus 1. Brilliant stuff from Parallax, and they look to be in rare and sparkling form.
Yeah, we have seen just a player dropouts, so we're going to be quickly getting them back in the map there. But I dare say this is pretty much a foregone conclusion here. I mean, you called it at the 9th round or something like that. So, I mean, it's pretty safe to say here that Parallax have got this one in the bag.
But they certainly do. And my prediction for Athletico for this tournament was actually 1st or 4th.
Well, I mean, to be honest, not far from the truth.
No, and the reason I said that was they were either going to come out all guns blazing and have absolutely no fear of the stage, of the event, or the opposition, and they were going to crush everyone, or this was the secondary option. This was, the stage is too big. They are getting overwhelmed. They're so young. 2 of these players are still in high school sitting on the stage in front of us. It's crazy to think how far the game's come when 2 high school players are playing at the very elite level. And look, they're so young and they're learning a lot right now. And to be fair, to their credit, a lot of them look like they're doing okay. I mean, they're smiling, they're having jokes with each other, and they've I guess they've taken themselves past the point of losing to remove yourself from your body. Leave your body. This is not what we wanted to happen. And right now, even though they're all smiles, they're probably looking more towards tomorrow. But look, you have to respect the fact that these guys are here having fun, enjoying themselves, regardless of the outcome, which is exactly what we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a long way forward here for this Athletico lineup. We've seen them a little bit, around for what, like 6 months maybe as a unit, maybe a bit longer, but in general, they haven't been playing at these big lands, and this is going to be their first one. So could be the start of a nice road for them. And
it definitely brings something to light, which I always thought to be the case. Burn, are you okay? Current player for Chiefs, star player for Chiefs in the past. He got his name created off the calling of Lonsdale, essentially. Lonsdale's ability to put that guy time and time again in different spots, in different situations, in different roles so that he could succeed. We've seen Burn still carry across the same skill in his aim and his movement into Chiefs. We've not seen anyone... We haven't seen performances anywhere near that caliber for quite some time from Burn, and I think that has always had a lot to do with the in-game leader Lonsdale, and he's doing so well with pieces that look at Jokes. He's had a storied career in CGP, never done anything. You look at Yellow, storied career in the top division, never really got close to winning anything. You can go down the line of these players. It's not until they've come together and said, we really want to work something hard at something that's bigger than ourselves. We want to put... We want to take that team play aspect and just, work on it to the highest possible level. And Lonsdale has proven time and time again that he's a great leader in this respect, and certainly reaping the fruits of his labours right now.
Yeah, and I mean, they've moved over to that new org, to Parallax, and the values, I guess, of the org seem to line up quite well with the values of the players as well. So I guess, even disregarding the fact that the team's working well together, everything about this lineup, the organization, seems to be working well, and I mean, it looks very good for them at the moment. So, if I was XL5 and Chiefs here watching this game in the studio, I'd be feeling a little bit worried, actually.
The only saving grace here for Athletico is that my prediction still holds true. They're either going to come 1st or 4th. The problem for teams tomorrow is that they've seen the 4th version of Athletico, what they look like at their worst. They have no ability to predict or sort of come to grips with what the first place version would look like. So although Atletico are clearly getting smashed in this circumstance, and they're getting outplayed, and a lot of people will look at this as reason, one reason or other to cast aspersions or doubts on the fact that they can come back. Tomorrow is a whole new day. We could see a whole new team show up tomorrow, and we could see them back in the finals looking fantastic in the space of 24 hours because these guys are so young. They don't hold on to losses like there's more grey in my beard from every loss of a Counter-Strike game I've ever had than these guys have even ever faced.
Yeah.
So, it's to their advantage that they're so young and sprightly, and maybe tomorrow we'll see a better version of them.
Well, I feel like at the moment I have a little bit of egg on my face because I did call Atletico quite convincingly, actually, to be the #1 team here in this competition. And
but I don't think that...
As you mentioned, I'm hoping, I guess, at least, that tomorrow they come and show up so that I can at least redeem myself.
Yep.
In terms of my prediction.
I don't actually think there's too much egg on your face right now. I think that was pretty much a consensus across a lot of not just I guess analysts and casters like the role we're in.
Yeah.
The community-wide, there was a lot of praise for this team, and a lot of people touted them as favourites. And the people who didn't did what I did. They sat on the fence and said, well, they're either going to crap out completely and not win a game, or they're going to go on to win it all. So I don't think that's particularly, there's not a whole omelette on your face at least. Maybe just a bit of shell and a bit of yolk.
It's not cooked egg yet?
No, not yet, not yet.
Well, let's hope we can see a better performance at least from Atletico tomorrow, because it would be a shame to see them come here and really not perform to the standard that we might have expected.
Yeah, definitely. That's Liaz on camera for anyone who doesn't know. So he's pretty content with himself, just swinging back and forth in his ESL chair. And look, as I keep saying, we keep seeing these photo shots of Atletico, and they don't look like they're all that bothered or disturbed by it, which from one sense you go, man, how can you not care if you're losing like this? It doesn't show that they're really into it or whatever. On the other hand, you go, what a fantastic attribute to be able to display when you're down this far and you can still enjoy doing the thing that you love.
Yeah.
Because this is essentially what everyone is here for. They're here for the pride, the prestige, the prize money, everything involved, but everyone is here because they love playing video games at a very high level, and these guys...
Well, not me.
You would love to play at a high level.
Maybe, yeah.
If
I was that good.
You probably can't, though.
No.
That's the problem.
Well, I haven't tried.
No.
Let's be fair.
No. That's the reason I don't try a lot of things.
Oh,
Fear of failure.
I could do it if I tried.
I know, me too. I could have been professional in any game. In fact, my biggest regret is that I didn't pick up the AWP earlier on in my career. I have a sparkling AWP right now. I've been absolutely slaying silvers.
Yes.
Since I've moved into the Peanut Gallery house with co-analyst Jim and Bale, I've gone through footage after footage after footage of me just wrecking people, and I kind of think to myself,
maybe you got stage fright.
I'm a lot more comfortable competing in this environment, in terms of and the silver environment.
Yeah.
30 bombing's dope.
Yeah.
Like smashing people is dope. Now I know how these guys actually feel like.
It's fun to win.
It is. It's enormous fun to win, and we all like to be the guy that everyone's watching. And right now, that's actually the whole of Parallax. So, I mean, I'd stand up and give them a small ovation, but they need to come back and prove that they can do this tomorrow when it matters. Of course, it matters now. I'm not trying to say that group stages don't matter, but they need to play this in the final tomorrow. If this is the best version of them, I don't want to see it in a semi-final. I want to see it on day one on a Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see it prime time
in
on a
grand
Sunday
final.
evening. Correct.
Yeah. I guess now that we've got a little bit of time on our hands, and we're not going to be on the analyst desk coming up next, do you have any opinion on how the next matchup's going to go, XL5 and Chiefs?
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly. I think that we will see an unraveling of kinds from Chiefs, but it won't be to this level. What I predict with Chiefs will be that certain players in certain rounds will just do enough to beat Exile 5.
Yep.
With Dexter being removed from the roster and chasing an international dream overseas with the new super team being formed, off new APOC and those sort of guys, he's moved across.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, but those guys are keen to fill that void, but Dexter left such a big hole. He wasn't just the in-game leader. He wasn't just the AWPer. He was a hands-on in-game leader, picking pieces and putting them in the right places. So when that falls apart, all that's left for them is their individual skill, which is second to none. You've got Destiny.
Yep.
You've got the Iceman, Chris O'Wow.
Yep.
You've got all the players in that team. Even Mungo's had his moments, whilst he's the sub for that team and not in the core lineup.
Yeah.
Even he has his moments where he goes, insane and has great rounds. Exile 5 just won't have enough firepower for me to get past Chiefs.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's I guess kind of mirrors the opinion that I sort of feel. I think Chiefs probably going to be able to break that one out, but again, it's going to be a close one. Anyway, guys, it does look like we are finally back in the game here. Parallax sitting on that 15th round. They only need one more. A great opportunity to close this one out, 16-1, as they previously just won the pistol round. Naturally, the round which featured a timeout has been rendered null and void. So we're back to square one here for Parallax.
Square one.
Square 15, perhaps?
I wish square one was 15-1 for me. I would have won a lot of games from that position, to be honest. Would have had a sublime record if I started games at 15-1, but infrequent here. We'll try and get that one dig. The way out long, he's going to have a lot of targets to shoot at.
Close.
It looked promising, didn't it? But like the rest of the afternoon for Athletico, it didn't go as planned as Lonsdale tries to pick up a kill, but he's got that P250 and putting it to great work.
Okie dokie. Well, starting off well there in this round, Parallax. Lonsdale finding one. Hat's going to be able to take down Liaz as well. And Sonic in a good angle there. He's going to get a bit of damage across. Oh, gets one onto Hats and another onto Lonsdale. A little bit of an exciting time there for Athletico, but immediately taken down there by Jokes. Back to a 3v2 here in favour of Parallax.
This entire round hinges on Kyoto here staying patient, staying true to himself and not overextending and picking out. His teammate is nestled in B, but the bomb has snuck up A long. So Kyoto here, in the waning moments of the 17th round, is going to have it all on his shoulders with his 5-7 in armor to try and peel away a couple of kills from this Parallax outfit.
Well, I think Raz has spotted out Kyoto here, so this is going to be a very difficult situation for him. He's already taken a little bit of damage there, down to 79, but peeking out of the smoke. We'll get the angle onto Jokes, but not the kill. Jokes finding the 1-for-1 there, I guess, as Chucky gets taken, or takes down Raz, but there you go. That is going to be it there for Parallax, closing it out 2-0. Somewhat of an unsuspected result, but, well, a really good performance from Parallax, and they're looking very strong to be able to head into the later stages of this competition.
Absolutely, but I guess for me, Elfish Guy, in summary, it's going to have to come tomorrow for me for Parallax. No team's getting eliminated today. No team's life is on the line. No prize money's on the line just yet. These guys are still competing for tomorrow's seedings and everything. But look, dominating performance by Parallax. Athletico basically joined the server. That's about where they stopped for playing Counter-Strike this afternoon. So they joined the server and you know, were able to keep connected. But other than that, they weren't able to produce anything worthy of note. And again, this is a situation where these guys were either going to be all the way to the bank or bust. Today they've been bust, and all that we can hope for tomorrow is that the real deal shows up, they come to play, and they give us a better showing. But for me, it was more about Parallax and what they did versus really criticising Athletico for what they didn't do.
Yeah, well, I guess that wraps up our thoughts here on the caster desk, but I will throw you over to our analysis desk to break down that matchup. Take it away, Sam, man.
Thank you very much, Elfish Guy. Yes, PDG not really keen to hit hard there on Athletico with any sort of negative criticism. Does anyone here have any feedback for the guys? Like Peter says, they essentially they got into the server, and to be fair, 16-2, 16-1. It couldn't have gone any worse, short of like not turning up at all, right?
That's correct. I mean, really underwhelming performance from Athletico. Unfortunately, all they can do is go back to their hotel and wipe that off and try and wipe that from their memory, because that was just a shellacking from Parallax. Now, you've got to ask yourself, is this just Athletico being onliners, being full of talk, or is this Athletico coming up against maybe the #1 team in Australia right now, which is Parallax, who look very prepared and look very sharp?
Jim, what do you think?
I didn't expect to be back here so soon. I think that was the sentiment from all of us. But look, Athletico never got going at all. They were not allowed in for one instance. So hats off to Parallax, who many didn't realise the level of experience they actually possess in that team. I mean, as we said at the start, that playing on stage like this, it's a different beast to the local lands that you're normally used to.
Yeah.
It's
not an internet cafe, is it? You don't rock up to your local LAN and just.
Well, that's right. You need to look no further than players like Raz that have actually played in similar situations to this at DreamHack, and then obviously you've got Simcore guiding the team as well, not more than a leadership figure, I guess, in that sense. But these guys are well drilled in every aspect. So I think they've got themselves a good accord here, and Athletico, as Ian said, will be just mulling it over tonight, but trying to start fresh tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look at one of the highlights from that second game in our best of 3. Go over there. It is not infrequent goes down. I think Jokes actually picks up a 3-piece. There's 1, there's 2, and there is the 3rd as well. That's his second 3-piece we've seen here on the highlight reel. Now, I know we didn't really see much from Athletico, but did Parallax just turn up?
Yeah.
Did Athletico just not turn up, or is it a combination? How do you guys feel about this?
Right now, I'm thinking maybe, Athletico, they just didn't turn up. They wanted to turn up. They said they would turn up. But at the end of the day, Parallax came out with something to prove. Everyone been criticising them, saying they're onliners and whatnot. Like PDG reference, Raz has been overseas, played internationally. Yellow has played for Battlefield internationally, as Jim said to me, and reminded me of that one. I forgot. But, I mean, today it was just a case of that, Athletico may need to look over their selection for overpass, maybe pass over that next time.
Well, they didn't even know it was called overpass. They called it tunnel, right?
Exactly.
So that's how. You got to at least know the map name.
And then
surely.
you've got Parallax, who came out today and just wanted to prove that they were no jokes.
Yeah. Well, you said you listed Raz in there as one of those internationally experienced players. We have a replay here of Raz, I believe, on the scope, probably in AWP, I would suspect. Let's take a look at him. There you go. He's 3 plays still alive.
Ooh.
Actually picks up a collat, and very, very nice. That helps, doesn't it, when you can pick up 2 in 1? Easily done, easily done. If we're going to very quickly talk about... Oh, this Raz here is still going.
It's a longer highlight clip than you expected.
They expected,
It's the Raz map.
Man, so many good plays. To be fair, that's going to be full of the limited rounds we saw are all going to be full of highlights here for Parallax.
It just looked like a lineup, really.
Yeah. Now, we talk about Parallax. They were Trident. What have they changed from Trident to be here now to be successful? Like, if we look 12 months ago, Trident obviously had a different lineup. They were a Div 2 team that really were a Div 1 team.
Yeah.
Is it... they've made a few changes. What's the key here for them?
Trident was always on the cusp of being Div 1, and even when they did qualify, it was only just a couple of players that seemed to be holding them back every time they played. Maybe one of them was Yellow at the time, but maybe that was just because the other guys in the team, like Aiden and Break, who maybe had some other impact on their other teammates' performances. Now they're out of the team. We've got the Australian up-and-comer Hats, who everyone's put a big spotlight on him, so it's interesting to see him play on LAN. And then we've also got the other guys coming in and just playing amazing around him. So, and that you've got Simcore and Nick from Parallax, the old CS 1.6 guys, who they will be able to steer the ship like nobody else. And they've got very clear defined roles. One person here is to make sure everyone feels good about themselves, everyone's happy on the day, And then you've got this
important.
It is important to have confidence and also just be happy with your teammates and everyone getting along. And then you've got Nick, who's going to be helping out tactically and strategies and helping people with their mindset.
And I think they've definitely retooled themselves quite well. And I'd say that in the sense that the core of Yellow and Lonsdale. They cope with the loss of Burn, AOK, quite well, and have seemed to picked up quite nicely Jokes, Hats, and Raz. Raz, capable AWPer, we've seen it plenty of times there. He was hitting some shots that weren't just your standard hold a line shot. They were, flicking left, right, and centre. So he's definitely feeling quite comfortable in the way he plays. And Jokes, as Pete mentioned in the cast, has actually been floating around the Div 1 scene for quite some time, has never really broken through. Today, he looked comfortable. So if they play to that level for the rest of the tournament, we're probably going to see them at the end of tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, it's looking like a sure thing right now. And it's good to see that Raz has pulled through with that form that he showed in the qualifiers. Those huge AWP shots we saw on Cache. It's good to see him come through on LAN today and also be able to play, because there's been questions about Raz before about his consistency throughout round to round, game to game. Sometimes he has a great game like you just saw on Overpass, and then sometimes he can just flop. So that's a mental barrier that he's been working on, trying to get through. And with people like Simcore and Nick behind him and under the leadership of Lonsdale, it's all looking roses.
An MVP for this Parallax team in this best of 3, 2 games we saw.
It's tough to pick between Jokes and Raz, really.
I don't know, man. Yellow was amazing in that first map. Won that one, like the Deagle ace on the pistol round to start things off. That really ruined Athletico from the beginning. Maybe that was, the nail in the coffin then and there. Get people arguing with each other. How did we lose that? We had that in the bag, whatever. It's a Deagle on a pistol round. All these things.
It's always going to tilt people.
That would tilt me
Yeah.
to no end.
Yep.
So, for me, Yellow.
On that basis, I'd have to disagree. But I think Jokes was definitely someone who stood up. For someone who's been around for so long to finally have a breakthrough game, that was the coming of age.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, that's our first game of the day. That's the last time we'll see either Parallax or Athletico play this afternoon. They'll both be back tomorrow, but we have our second upper bracket game coming up next. It will be Chiefs up against Exile 5. I don't want to do too much analysis on that. We'll get back into that shortly. So we're going to take a very, very short break here, ladies and gentlemen. Huge shout out to all of our sponsors here at the ESL Australia and New Zealand Championship for Counter-Strike, Asus, Razer, and HyperX. We'll be back live to the analyst desk right after this.